Hey everybody, Fradham here, and we're going to take another look at Protonmail. We had a couple questions from the last video regarding encryption. One of the questions was, why wasn't I prompted for two passwords when I logged in? A login password and a mailbox encryption password. So we'll go over that. And the other question was, if you send an encrypted email to a non-Protonmail email address, what happens? How do they see it if they're not a Protonmail account holder? So we're going to take a look at that tonight too. It's actually all pretty simple, so we'll go through it real quick. And as a precursor to this video, I went ahead and made a couple accounts for testing. I made one on a Gmail for domains account, and I made another account on Protonmail, and I'll be using those for testing. So I won't have to blur anything out. Everything should look fine. So let's get to it. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is log into my new Protonmail account. This is a non-paid account. This is a free account. So if you signed up for Protonmail for the free account, this is exactly what it'd be like. And as you see, it's decrypting my mailbox, and it didn't ask me for a second email, or a second password, which is what you will get when you sign up. That's the normal default function of this. So we'll cover the dual password thing a little bit later, but right now I want to show you what it looks like. If I compose an email and I send it to my test account, if I could actually type, this is an encrypted email. If you have the key, you should be able to read this. So I'm just going to make a real quick, simple email. And what we want to do is, if I send it now, it won't be encrypted, and anyone can read this, and it's just a regular old email. But down here in the left corner of the compose screen, you'll see that we have a little padlock, and that's for encryption. So if I click this button, it will prompt me for a message password. This is what I call a key, but they're calling it a password. I think they're just using that as a typical, it's just to make sense for the new user, but it's an encryption key. So we'll make it simple. So we confirm it, and I can give a hint. It's so simple. And then we set it. Now at this point, you'll see that the padlock changed to blue. This means that the email is going to be encrypted when I send it. So we'll go ahead and hit send. And it goes through its encrypting and sending, and it's done. Now one thing I want to point out is that it won't be encrypted for me. So if I go to my sent mail and look at it, I can read it. I don't have to enter a password key or anything because it's encrypted with my key. So it's automatically viewable by me. So back to inbox. So now if I go to my other browser, which is right here, this is just a regular old Gmail account, and you will see that I have an email from DOG, that's my test. This is an encrypted email. So if I click on this, you will see that I don't get the actual email in my inbox. I get something that says view secure message with my password hint that I sent. It's so simple. So I view secure message, loading Protonmail. Now it's not loading up an account, it's loading up a message viewer. And at this point I can decrypt message, and I need to enter that key. Enter the passphrase or the key and hit decrypt. And boom, there we have our email. And it says, if you have the key, you should be able to read this. So I have the key, so it works. So that's how it works. It pulls you out of your email system to a web page that's hosted at Protonmail for viewing the message. And as you can see in the red here up at the top, it says it is expiring in 27 days, 23 hours, 58 minutes, 29 seconds. So that message is going to go away, and it'll be gone for good. I think it'll stay in my sent message on my Protonmail account, but the recipient won't be able to get to it again. So I can reply to this message from here, which is kind of nice. I got the message and I could read it. Woohoo. Davos. Hit send. It's encrypted for the send, but when I go back to my Protonmail account, which is right here, you will see that I will have a reply, but I don't have to enter a key because I encrypted it, so I don't have to enter a key. But if I reply again, this, I think I have to hit encrypt again. Let's try it. This is my reply. Let's see what happens if I send it without. Okay, so if I don't hit encryption and hit send, let's see what happens on. I haven't tested this part, so this is kind of new to me. I wasn't sure what was going to happen here. So it doesn't automatically re-encrypt the replies. So that's kind of weird. It'd be nice if it did. So that's, to me, that's kind of sucky. So to reply with encryption, we would have to do, this one is encrypted, do the padlock and enter a new key, or you can use the same one. But that's kind of weird. It'd be neat if it kept the thread encrypted, but it doesn't. So that's kind of a bummer, but it's still a nice feature. And it's nice that I can send email to non-Protonmail users and have it encrypted, and they don't need to create a Protonmail account. Okay, see, so the third reply is encrypted, so we can view message and hit decrypt. This one is encrypted, and then you can see the quoted stuff. So it doesn't keep the thread. It's kind of weird, but it works. And it's a nice feature if you need that encryption to send sensitive data across the internet, you can. So the other thing that I want to look at, oh, and just so you know, if I send a message to my other Proton account, this is my other message. Hi, Fratum. It's me, Fratum. And then I hit the encrypt button. It'll ask me to set a password. And I can set that password and send, but this is the thing I found, and it says it's encrypting. I think what it does is it encrypts it with the key, with my already existing key, because if I log out and then log back in as Fratum, you'll see that it's not encrypted where I have to go to a link. So I think that all that encryption is handled inside, and Protonmail knows that I'm Fratum, so it automatically decrypts it based on my keys in my system. That's how I think it works. It is encrypted on their system, so it's still secure. And since it's going from Protonmail to Protonmail, it's not going over the net, and you don't have to worry about man-in-the-middle stuff, and it's pretty secure. I'm pretty sure they thought this out. So anyways, let's log back out of here. And we'll log back in as DOG. And again, you'll notice that I only have to enter a password, one password. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to settings, and we're going to scroll down a little bit down to password, and we're going to switch to 2-password mode. And what 2-password mode does, and it's going to make you authenticate, is the first password is your login password, and the second password is basically the encryption key to encrypt your mailbox on their system. Why would you want to do this? If you have real sensitive data and you don't want even Protonmail to be able to get access to it, or this is also a form of 2-factor authentication to keep hackers out. If they get your email password, they won't be able to get your decryption password. So it's just an extra layer of security for super sensitive data. So it will force you to change your login password. Now, what I find interesting is they don't recommend this to new users. They only recommend it to the hardcore users, and which is fine. I don't use this feature. I'm just covering it here, and this is why I made a second account just for testing, was because I don't want to encrypt my mailbox like this. But I could see if I was working in something where I had to pass top secret data, or even just stuff, in my line of work, we're always dealing with information that if it got out to the public, it'd be a violation of FERPA and other type of HIPAA and FERPA and all those weird regulations that could get us in trouble. So this would be good for that. Anyways, so now we're going to make a mailbox password, and this is what your mailbox is going to be encrypted on. So you can make this password as complicated as you want. The more complicated, the better, would be my guess, because of the way encryption works. So, oops, tab didn't go to the next line. Okay, so now this is going to encrypt my mailbox. And this was the thing that was asked in the thing. Why didn't it ask me for 2 passwords? So if I log out, and then I log back in as DOG, enter my login password, it will now say decrypt my mailbox. This will be that second. I almost forgot it. I did forget it. And now we can unlock the mailbox. So that's going to decrypt. So boom. So that's how that works. It's actually really simple. And if you don't mind entering 2 passwords every time you log in, it's probably a better way of doing things, because it's basically 2-factor authentication. I would like to see the option of using like maybe Google Authenticator or some kind of key fob for your primary authentication, and then the secondary password would be for the mailbox encryption. That would be nice. So that's how it works. It's real simple, and I hope this answers the questions about how encryption works with this system, and the security of it is pretty nice. And a nice thing is if you have a paid account, they are now offering VPN service. And if you live in the United States, we have this big thing going on about privacy with ISPs that they're supposed to be voting on, where ISPs can sell your data. Well, if you use a service like this that has an encrypted VPN, then no one can see what you're doing on the internet. It's not as tight as Tor, because it's still traceable at some point, but at least your data is not going through your ISP, who could sell it to whoever wants to buy it. I don't know. This whole buying data, ISP selling data bullshit, and this high bandwidth privacy act thing that Trump is trying to get rid of is just really just disturbing. If you don't know anything about it, you should probably Google it. I'm not going to talk about it much here. It's just too frustrating. Anyways, so that's my video for tonight. I really hope that you enjoyed it. And if you did, please give it a thumbs up, and feel free to share it and subscribe if you haven't. I hope you have a wonderful night, and thank you for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.